नमस्कार लर्नर्स, NIOS के PME विद्या चैनल में आप सभी का स्वागत है। आज हम जो टॉपिक पढ़ेंगे वो है एडवांस्ड HTML एंड CSS। इससे पहले हमने बेसिक्स ऑफ HTML पढ़ा था, तो आज हम उसी का एडवांस्ड एंड देन कैस्केडेड स्टाइल शीट्स पढ़ेंगे। So first we will recap that what we had learned in previous lecture. So we learned about www, that is World Wide Web. HTML is the language which we use to develop web pages, and HTML is a text formatting language. We have browser, and browser is the application which hosts the web pages. So we write the text in HTML editor. We can use word processor, notepad, and that text is run in the browser where web pages are being displayed. We can use notepad. In notepad we create the page, we write the complete language syntax, and then we save the page with .html extension, and then we can open that file in any browser to see the output of the web page. So the steps are, we have to choose a text editor, then we have to create a basic starting document, then we have to understand and set document properties, and then we can view our results in the browser. So the tags which we discussed in the previous lecture, they are very, whatever tags, whatever formatting tags we have in word processor, in other text editing applications, same we can use in HTML also. Like we have bold tag, I tag for italic, U tag for underline. We can change the color with the different hexadecimal values with the red, green and blue components. We can change the color attribute of the font. We can change the size attribute, style attribute of the font. So in this form we can apply different formatting to our font of the web page. Another thing, we have list. In list elements we can list different items using ordered list, using unordered list, and the way we use bullets and numbering in MS Word, same we can display on the web page using list feature. In unordered list we have type of square, we have type of circle, that type of radio button types bullets are used to list the items. In ordered list we have a sequence. Items in this list are numbered automatically by the browser. We can have the sequence of 1, 2, 3 or ABC, and we have to just set the first item number, then other items are listed sequentially. So we can use Arabic numbers, lower alpha numbers, upper alpha numbers, lower Roman numbers and upper Roman numbers. Another thing we check that we have link, v-link and a-link. These are the features we use to link another documents, another web pages to some part of our web page. Like some text can be linking to some other web page, some other file, other audio or video file. So we used link attribute for that. And in link tag we have link option, v-link and a-link. Link is the color we set to the link, which text is the hyperlink, and v-link is used to v-link color is purple. It is used to describe that the link has been visited once, and the link, when it is being clicked, the color of the link would be a-link. So similarly we can use that in body of the HTML. In body tag itself we can set these attributes, that what would be the color of the link during click, after clicking and when it is active. So the main elements, main tags of any HTML document are HTML, head, title, style and body. So the body element, it gives us the ability of setting an image as a document's background. We can also set an image in the background of the page. Now we will move to some other tags. Earlier we saw the tags with which we can style a document using different colors, different ordered and unordered listing pairs, different horizontal rules, different text formatting. Now we will move to table tag. So as we can create a table in any text editor, we have to define some number of rows and number of columns. But in HTML, we will go row wise. In beginning, we will define first row, we will define the headings, and then we will go row wise. We will add table data row wise. So here we use 3 tags which are tr, th and td. Tr is table row, th is table header, in which we define the heading of every column, and td is the table data set. So HTML tag is used for defining a table. The table tag contains other tags that define the structure of the table. Each table row is defined with the tr tag. A table header is defined with the th tag, and all the table headings are bold and centered initially, and you can also change them, format them with different attributes which we have learnt already. We can make them bold, we can make them colored, we can make them underlined. Every formatting we can apply to it, and table data is defined with td tag, table data. So this is an example that in this we have starting of the document HTML, then body tag, then table starts. Table tag needs to be started and closed so that it can recognize that this is the table code in the HTML page. So as we said earlier that we have to go row wise. So after starting table, we will start one row under opening and closing tags. Then we will start another row under opening and closing tags. So if we take the first row, we added heading. TH means table header. So table header is book name and author name. Here we can define number of columns which we want to use in our table. So if we have 3 columns, then initially only we will write 3 table headers or 4 table headers according to the number of columns we have. Then we will move to add the values to these columns row wise. So we will go into the next table row, we will add the values using table data tags, and we can use type values for every column in each row. So here we used 3 rows, first row for table headings and another 3 rows for data values with 2 columns each. So as you can see, we had another table row closed and opened and closed tr tag for 2 times and values for them using td tags. Then we will close the table tag also, and finally body and HTML. So as we saw earlier that for every tag we have different attributes. So tag provides it some special function. We can add some attributes to that. So HTML table tag also supports some attributes. So we can use width pixels. So it can specify the width of the table which we can apply. We can apply color to the entire table using background color option, BG color, RGB, and in bracket value of RGB to specify a color, or we can use #x hexadecimal code of the color, corresponding color. Color name is also can be used. Then we have cell padding pixels and cell spacing pixels. Cell padding pixels are that what is the space which we can have between the cell border and their contents. As we use cell alignment option in text editors, when we draw table there, we have an option of cell alignment, that whether the text will be exactly at the bottom line of the cell, or text will be at the upper, it is aligned to the upper area of the cell, or text is aligned to the right area or the left area. So similarly we can use those formatting using cell padding option. Next is cell spacing pixels. It is the space between the cells which we can have. So it specifies the space between different cells. So cell padding is the difference between the cell and the text inside it, and cell spacing is the space between 2 consecutive cells. Another option is col span and row span attributes. These are very important when we design any website. We can use tables to design a website. Like we can use tables to define images into them. We can have a table with 3 columns, and we can add as table data, we can add 3 different images. Then we can have 2 images. In next row we just want to add 2 images. So what we are doing in this, so if we are adding 3 images in the first row, 2 images in the second row, so we have to combine 2 cells of the first row as second cell. So whenever we want to combine cells, whenever we used to merge cells, as we use in word processor, we merge cells. So this option is called column span and row span. When we say column span, this attribute defines the number of cells that a column should span. So if we say column span equals to 2, or we say row span 2, then it will span 2 rows or 2 columns. We will see it in the detailed demo after a few slides, that how we execute this. Next is form tag. Another very important tag of HTML is form tag. So form tag, as we know from the name, it is used to get inputs from the user. So we want user to enter something, to choose something from the web page. So it is the feature where HTML allows user to interact with it. Earlier we used text formatting options, we used list options, we used image options. Each of the options were used just to display the content on the web page. Now to interact with the web page, like we can use browser to take some input from the user, then we can process that input, and we can also according to that we can execute some query on the back end of the website. So for that we start with the form element. So form element is used to create an HTML form for user input. So form element is a container for different types of input elements, such as text fields, checkboxes, radio buttons, submit buttons, etc. So we will have some fields. We can have n number of fields, n number of buttons, and in that user will enter something and the page will be able to read those values. So in form, as we say that we will input something, we will take something from the user. So we need an input element. So HTML input element is the most used form element. So input element can be displayed in many ways depending on the type of attribute. So either we will have input element on the of text field on the web page, either we will have some radio button or some checkbox. Accordingly the user can input the values we want them to. So there are different types. So first type is text. That input type is equal to text, and that means we have a text field. Like we add a username, password in a text field in any website. We add when we add our details in any ticket booking system, or in any university related forms, we enter all our values, names, address, etc. All these forms are text fields. So it displays a single line text input field. Then we have input type radio. Radio buttons are the buttons where we can we can choose any one of the options only. So we will not be able to choose multiple options. Multiple options can be checked using checkbox. So checkbox are used to tick the options which we want to choose. Radio button, it displays a radio button and we can select one of the many choices. In checkbox, it displays a checkbox for selecting 0 or more of any choices. Then we have submit button. In submit button, the values which we enter in the input element, irrespective of its type, those values get displays. It displays a submitted button, and we will get those values in the web page itself. And when we say type equals to button, it will display a clickable button. So text fields, input type text, it is defines a single line input field for text input. Next we have label tag, label element. So along with input we have another very important element, which is label element. So label tag defines a label for many form elements. So label element is useful for screen reader users because the screen reader will read out loud the label when the user focuses on the input element. So it is used that to toggle the input. When the mouse cursor will move to the area of the form, as it enters the label area, it will toggle the input. So it is used for increasing the readability of the form element. So it also helps users who have difficulty clicking on very small regions. So when we have a label area, like the area in which text is written, the area in which the text of corresponding radio button, corresponding checkbox is written, if he is not able to click that, then we have a label around it. User can, as it as the cursor comes in the label area, the input toggles and the user is able to click in that region. So it helps users who have difficulty clicking on very small regions, because when the user clicks the text within the label, it toggles the radio button. And the for attribute of the label tag should be equal to the ID attribute of the element to bind them together. We will later on see that what are the ID selectors, what are other selectors. So when we mark label for any input, then when we refer label to something, we have to add the ID of that form, that this label refers to the that form element. So we should refer the ID of that element. Next is radio buttons. We already have seen that it defines a radio button, and radio button let a user select one of a limited number of choices. In checkbox, the input type checkbox defines a checkbox. So in this manner we have to add them in the syntax, that input type equals to in inverted comma checkbox. Checkboxes let a user select 0 or more options of a limited number of choices. Next is submit button. The input type submit, we have this input type is equal to submit. It defines a button for submitting the form data to a form handler. So we will add the input, submit button will take those inputs to the handler. Whatever coding we have, whatever backend system we have, it will take the input and it will send that input to the handler. The form handler is typically a file on the server with a script for processing input data. So that data will go to the server, form handler, that server will process that data according to the code it has, according to the data it has. And the form handler is specified in the form's action attribute. So next we will see the action attribute. So how would HTML, how would the browser know that this submit button data will go somewhere and to which file it should go? In action attribute, we define that action is equal to in inverted comma the file area, the file name where it should go. So the action attribute defines the action to be performed where the form is submitted. Usually the form data is sent to a file on the server when the user clicks on the submit button. So we can define action is equals to some address of the web page and then that like action page.php. So in this way the data goes to the server. Now we will come to CSS, which is cascading style sheets. So as we saw in our previous lecture that when we design a building, so HTML is like we design the skeletal of the building, what the number of pillars, how would the initial look of the building would be, the initial construction. The only part HTML does is the construction and some small changes. If we want to add some styling features to the building, like what color will be of the walls, what kind of setting of things will be there, how will the map of the building will look like, how would the designing and interior designing will happen, how will we will navigate through the building. So the styling part is done by CSS. So HTML is used to construct the web page, and to add the style we use CSS. So it stands for cascading style sheets. So we will continue with this topic just after the break. So let's have a break.
ब्यूटी यानी सौंदर्य एक आकर्षक विषय होने के साथ साथ एक लोकप्रिय व्यवसाय भी है। भारत में सौंदर्य उद्योग विकसित देशों की तुलना में दोगुनी तेजी से बढ़ रहा है। इसी तेजी से प्रशिक्षित कुशल कर्मियों की मांग भी बढ़ रही है, जो उच्च क्वालिटी की सौंदर्य सेवाएं प्रदान कर सकें। सौंदर्य क्षेत्र में रोजगार के बढ़ते अवसरों को देखते हुए NIOS विभिन्न 6 पाठ्यक्रम उपलब्ध कराता है। इनमें ब्यूटी कल्चर एवं बालों की देखरेख, सौंदर्य उपचार, हाथों व पैरों की देखभाल, बालों की देखभाल व स्टाइलिंग, ये सभी एकल पाठ्यक्रम के अलावा व्यवसायिक स्ट्रीम में भी उपलब्ध हैं, जिसमें शिक्षार्थी 3 सौंदर्य संबंधित विषय, एक शैक्षिक विषय और एक भाषा विषय उत्तीर्ण कर 10वीं का प्रमाण पत्र प्राप्त कर सकते हैं। NIOS से ये कोर्स करने के बाद आप पार्लर में एक सौंदर्य सहायक के तौर पर कार्य कर सकते हैं। नेल आर्ट जैसी विशिष्ट सेवाओं के लिए आप अलग से सैलून भी स्थापित कर सकते हैं। सहायक हेयर स्टाइलिस्ट या मेकअप आर्टिस्ट भी बन सकते हैं। मोबाइल पार्लर्स के माध्यम से फोन पर अपॉइंटमेंट लेकर क्लाइंट के घर पर भी अपनी सेवाएं दे सकते हैं। हमारे इन पाठ्यक्रमों से अनेक शिक्षार्थी लाभान्वित हो रहे हैं और व्यवसाय कर आर्थिक रूप से स्वतंत्र बन रहे हैं।
मैंने NIOS से ब्यूटी कल्चर का वोकेशनल कोर्स किया था। मैंने अपना एक खुद का पार्लर चलाया है और मेरे 2 छोटे छोटे बच्चे हैं। मैं अब अपने अंदर कॉन्फिडेंस रखती हूँ कि मैं उनके लिए भी कुछ कर सकती हूँ, उन्हें अच्छी एजुकेशन दे सकती हूँ।
इन सभी पाठ्यक्रमों में प्रवेश लेने हेतु आप हमारी वेबसाइट www.nios.ac.in पर लॉगिन करें। सभी प्रवेश केवल ऑनलाइन ही किए जाते हैं और जो संस्थान NIOS की मान्यता प्राप्त कर इन पाठ्यक्रमों का संचालन करना चाहते हैं, वे भी लॉगिन करें तुरंत NIOS की वेबसाइट www.nios.ac.in पर।
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने,
जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने, हम अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने, अपना दीपक स्वयं बने, हम अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने,
साधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो,
संसाधन समय की सीमा से विद्यालय जो मुक्त हो, कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो, कभी पढ़े हम कहीं पढ़े वे विषय की लोच से युक्त हो। मित्रों हम उठे और जागे, मंजिल आने की ध्वनि सुने, अपना जीवन स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। जीवन ये प्रकाशित करने, राहों को आलोकित करने। राष्ट्रीय मुक्त विद्यालय का है द्वार खुला सबकी खातिर।
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर
शिक्षा परीक्षा का अवसर एक बार ही क्यों मिलता फिर दुनिया में इसके केंद्र बहुत, कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने हम, अपना जीवन स्वयं बने हम, अपना रास्ता स्वयं चुने। कोई मन चाहा केंद्र चुने, स्वयं बने हम,
So welcome back after the break. So now we will start with cascading style sheets, that is CSS. So CSS, as we discussed, that it is the styling part. It gives us the look and feel. It improves the look and feel of the website. It makes it more attractive. It can be more attractive to the user. We have a website is the platform where the product of the companies gets launched, or institutions project their about their institutions. So it has to be very attractive. So CSS is a style sheet that is used to lay out, format and style documents written in HTML and to improve their look and feel. You can use CSS to change the color, backgrounds, borders, paddings, margins, fonts, icons, position and various other properties of HTML elements in a web document. So what happens that in HTML it goes sequentially. If we want to apply some styling to a particular tag, we have to add that styling to that tag only. So what if we have a facility that where we can code that styling somewhere, like we want P tag to be this way. P tag, wherever I'm starting a paragraph, I want that content to be written in some red color. So what we will do, we will add that attribute to P tag in styling document. In CSS separate document, we will add that, and it will apply to entire code of our web page. So we do not have small web pages, we have very big web pages, and we cannot apply styling to each and every tag and do that sequentially. We can do this very effectively, very efficiently using CSS by combining and segregating styling part in another file. So in CSS we do like this, we have a separate file that is .css in which we have all the styling. We overwrite all the tags of HTML with different styling which we want that HTML file to use, and then we refer that .css file in an HTML file. So there are different styling options, there are different options how we can add that CSS to an HTML document. So let's move to next slide. This is CSS. So what does that do? It saves a lot of work and it defines how HTML elements are to be displayed, and styles are normally saved in external .css files. External style sheets enable you to change the appearance and layout of all the web pages in a website just by editing one single file. So it makes the process of styling web pages very efficient. Like we do not have to do that in redundant manner. So why should we learn CSS? So when we are learning web designing, we have to use CSS. So creating attractive websites, so that we can use create attractive websites to improve the look and feel of web page, web designer profession. So if we choose this as a profession, we must know and we must be very good at CSS. And control web, it provides powerful control over the presentation of an HTML document. We can learn another web pages, another website's codes to understand, learn another languages. So once we understand the basics of HTML and CSS, then other languages like JavaScript, PHP are become easier to understand. So the execution part, when we do some functioning in our website, that is done by JavaScript, CSS for styling, and then as we take the example of a building, so if we add some programming like how the lift will operate, how will the different smart appliances will operate, so there is a functionality added to that building. So when we add some functionalities to our websites, we use PHP and JavaScript, such languages. So understanding CSS makes us understand other websites, makes us understand how other languages operate. So advantages of CSS are, it is time saving, faster loading of pages. If we do not have this kind of file, we have entire big HTML documents, then it will load a single file, very big single file into the browser. Now we have a little simplified loading of pages. And superior styles to HTML, so we can style very efficiently, very beautifully in CSS. Multiple device compatibility, we can use same web pages, same CSS styles on different devices. So the properties which we can use in CSS, so background color, border width, border color, margin attributes, padding attributes, font family attributes, top, left, right alignment, font size, background image, text align. So there are so many list of properties which we can set in HTML tags in a document. So when we talk about syntax of CSS, so in this we have a selector, then we have its property, and then value. So what do you mean by selector? We mean that this part we are selecting and we are adding to this property of this selector, we are adding this value. So selector is the HTML tag at which a style will be applied. So we can use any tag to which we want to overstyle, we want to overwrite. We will use any attribute of this tag. A property is a type of attribute of this HTML tag. So all the HTML attributes are converted into CSS properties, right? So we are using a tag which is a selector, we are using its attribute which is a property, and now we are using values which we assign to these properties, and that will be applied to the entire document wherever that selector lies. So we can see in this example, th is the selector and color is a property, red is its value. So this is a style rule is composed of two parts, selector and a declaration. So this declaration consists of property and value. So selector indicates the element to which the rule is applied. Declaration determines the property values of that selector. So property specifies a characteristic such as color, font family, position, and is followed by a colon. We should have a colon between property and value, and after value we have to put a semicolon. So value expresses specification of a property such as red for color, Arial for font family, etc. And then we have to close it using a curly braces. So CSS style rule syntax is selector, then we have property, when we have its value. So we want to define table border. Like wherever I use table in my document, I want to have such kind of border. So we can define it in our CSS file. So table border we define the width of the top border, and then it would be solid and in this color. Then we use type selectors, like we use override h1. Wherever I am using h1 heading 1, the color should be this. So this way we can override tags in CSS. So let's take this example. So how we are doing? We are adding p. We are overwriting p tag. We are styling p tag. So we are using its color to be red, text align to be center. And how do we add comments in CSS? Simple, like as we do in C, C++ languages, slash followed by a asterisk. So again, now we will come to selectors. We have different types of selectors in CSS. So some universal, descenders, multiple, and other selectors. So first is universal. In universal is that if some property I want to set to every attribute, we will use asterisk option. So instead of selecting elements of a particular type, universal selector simply matches the name of any element type. So this rule will set the color of every element in the document as black. So we are using black color to the asterisk. We are matching it to asterisk tag. It will apply to every element in the document. So this was about universal selector. Now is descendant selector. Descendant selector is if you want to use nested tags. So if this tag appears under this tag, then apply this property. So applying a style rule to a particular element only when it is inside a particular element. So style rule will apply to, in this example, we have an ordered list, then we have em tag. So when em tag appears inside your tag, we will set the color of the tag as black. Next is ID selector. ID selector applies when we have to style only single element. When we refer group of elements, we use class selector. When we use single element, we use ID selector. So the ID selector is used to specify a style for a single unique element. The ID selector uses the ID attribute of the HTML element and is defined with the hash. So in this example, we have ID equals to para 1. So wherever we will follow ID equals to para 1 in any tag, say in an heading h1, we will say ID equals to para 1. It will refer to the CSS file. It will check where is the ID equals to para 1 is defined. Hash para 1 it will find. It finds that color is red and text line is center. So it will set that styling to that tag. So it is we can say a single styling to it. We can if we want to refer something single to, like we want to override something. We have used some styling for p tag. Now we want to override this. We want that p styling to all of the p tags, but one single p tag I want some other styling. So we can have some different ID. We can create some different ID for that, and we can refer that ID in that particular p tag. So it is useful in that case also. So in this example, hash black color, so where it sets the content in black for every element with ID attribute set to black in the document. And when we refer h1 hash black, it sets the content in black for only h1 elements with ID attribute set to black. So this way we can use ID selectors. Now we will come to class selectors. Here what we did, we used to refer single tag in the document. If I want to apply styling to a group of elements, we will refer then class selectors. So class selector is used to specify a style for a group of elements. Unlike the ID selector, the class selector is most often used on several elements. So it is defined with a dot. In this example, all HTML elements with the class center will be center aligned. So if in the document, in any tag, we refer class equals to center, it will go to CSS to find what the class center defines. It will go to the dot will define the class. It will check whether the center class, what is the formatting, it will apply that formatting to HTML elements. Then all p elements with class, in next example, all p elements with class equals to center will be center aligned. So at last we will say that there are three ways to insert CSS: external style sheet, internal style sheet, inline styles. So in external style sheet we have a separate file of CSS and we refer that in HTML. In internal style sheet we add a styling in style tag after head tag in the document itself. In inline styling we do the styling CSS in the tag only, in the where we declare the tag, there only we apply the styling. So in external style sheet it is ideal when the style is applied to many pages. So with an external style sheet we can change the look of entire website by changing one file. So in head tag we have to link the style sheet, we have to link and giving the reference of the style sheet, and hyperref href we will define the name of the file. We will use this entire syntax for link, and that styling file.css will be added to our page. An external style sheet can be written in any text editor. The file should not contain any HTML tags. Yes, it will not contain any HTML tags, and it can be saved as .css extension. And an example is like that we have HR tag, horizontal rule tag that has been styled. P tag has been styled that margin left will be 20 pixels when we are using P tag. When we are using body, we are setting this as the background image. In internal slide sheets, we will add style tag in head tag. So we will say style type equals to text CSS, and then we will add the same styling which we can add it in the document itself. So when we are not applying that to different documents, we can use in the same document. So next is inline styles. So in the inline styles like P tag, we have added style equals to, and we can refer as many attributes we can change. We can add all these attributes separated by semicolon in this document only. So if we have an example, like in an example we have done external style sheet. So has the properties for H3 selector. So we have some properties of H3 selector in external style sheet. Then we have some properties in internal style sheet. So when we which styling will be applied? So if the page with the internal style sheet also links to the external style sheet, the properties of H3 will be the property which is set in the document will be overwritten, and the properties which are in external style sheets, they will be overwritten by what is in internal. So internal style sheet will be preferred over the attribute set in external style sheet. If something is not formatted in the same document and it is there in the external style sheet, then it will be applied, and the rest whichever is in the internal style sheet will be given priority over the values in CSS. So the color is inherited from the external style sheet. In this example, color was there in external style sheet. Text line was left in the external, but internal it was right. So it will use external, the value is right, which is there in the internal. Next is multiple style rules. We can add multiple style rules to our single tag. So defining multiple style rules for a single element, combine multiple properties and their values into a single block. So we have h1 tag, and we can use different attributes, and we can use multiple attributes to change their font weight, letter spacing, margin, bottom. We can, whatever properties can be set, we can set all those in the style rules. Then we have grouping selectors. We can also apply a style to many selectors. So if like here we have applied this style to 3 tags, h1, h2 and h3. Now we will see a short demo. So in this we can see that we have a table month expenditure. We have 4 rows and 2 columns. How we have designed it? HTML head, we have taken some inline styling, internal styling using a table THTD. So we have applied table width to be 400 pixel, we can see that same table width is used in the entire document, that 400 pixel is applied to the document. Next we have a table column span attribute. So we have 3 rows, we have added 3 values to this table. Here we can see that in the last row we have 2 columns combined into one, so merged into one. So this option we used as column span. We can say here that td col span equals to 2. Using this, the web browser has set these two merged these of columns into one and showing last row as merged. In next we have row span equals to 2. We have merged 2 rows into same single cell. So here we have applied td row span equals to 2. So while we are entering the value, we have to add this only. So when we use nested table, so we can also create nested tables by using nested table options, like in the data of a cell we can add another table, and rest of the coding will be according to how we are using table under the table. So we can look here that we have a table, inside there we have another table, cell 1, cell 2, cell 3, cell 4. How we can add form into the document? So we will have form action equals to the page where we are redirecting it. Then we will use input type. Here input type equals to text. This will be a field first name with input type equals to text. Then we have another label L name, that is last name, and then we have input ID equals to text, and then we have submit equals to submit button. So same way we have HTML form first name, text field, last name label, and then text field, and then submit button. Now we can see that we have different HTML radio buttons and check boxes. So that we have applied here, that input type equals to radio, then value of the button, then input type equals to radio, value of the button, and label for the option. Same way we have added checkbox, input type equals to checkbox, then label for the vehicle 1. Say the for attribute of the label refers to the ID of the input element. So same way we can add different input elements according to the requirements. So this was about HTML and advanced HTML and CSS. We will see a detailed demo using different stylings in next sessions. So I hope you understood it and will try to practice it at your systems. Thank you so much.